For some people, the outdoors is a hobby. For others, it's a lifestyle. Torque wheels are built for the ones who chase sunrise on the water, track game through the timber, and spend weekends towing boats, campers, and ATVs to the next adventure. With a full lineup of wheel sizes and fitments for trucks, SUVs, vans, trailers, and RVs, Torque wheels are made to match your lifestyle and your rig. Wherever you go, whatever you haul, go with confidence. Visit torquewheels.com to find a retailer near you.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
This episode is brought to you by Boat Trader, America's largest boating marketplace. Whether you're buying, selling, or upgrading, the Boat Trader app makes it easy. With the biggest selection of new and used boats from dealers and private sellers. Browse, compare, and even apply for financing. All in one place. Download the Boat Trader app and start your search today.
As soccer takes center stage this summer, Comcast helps bring the experience home to America. As the exclusive Spanish-language home of the tournament in the U.S., Telemundo is set to present its most expansive coverage ever. 700 hours of programming, live on-site presence at all 104 matches. And with multi-view and real-time 4K, Xfinity will deliver the most innovative and immersive sports viewing experience for fans watching on Telemundo, Peacock, Fox, and FS1. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Hunting Stories Podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and we got a good episode for you today, despite some technical errors. I got a new laptop. I went from a Mac to a PC, just trying to figure things out, guys. I'll get smoother. I apologize, but I want to introduce you guys to Tom Trusk. Tom reached out. He found the podcast on YouTube. He's an aspiring kind of hunting influencer, has his own YouTube channel, and he has some great stories for us today. So, Tom, thank you so much for reaching out and sharing your stories to listeners. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Let's just go ahead and kick this thing off. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy Tom's stories. All right, Tom. Welcome to the Hunting Stories Podcast, brother. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing real well, Tom. I'm excited to chat with you. We've been connecting here a little bit before I hit the record button, but you found the podcast through YouTube, which I think is super cool. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone actually finding it there. I'm sure people have,
yeah,
but just haven't had many people reach out, and like 95% of my audience is Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So it's cool that people are finding us there as well. But neither here nor there. Tom, let's introduce you. Why don't you tell the folks who they're going to be hearing some stories from today?
All right. Well, my name's Tom, and I'm from Michigan, west side. But I've been a 90% pretty much raised on public land hunting, and I started a YouTube channel about a year ago called The Hunting Factor.
Okay.
And it's growing a little bit here and there, and I just do it as a hobby in a way, just kind of add to what I do. And I was influenced a lot by Dan Infalt and Hunting Beast, so I kind of adapted my style of hunting to the way that he preaches. Find
That's
deer
cool.
bedding, pay attention to the sign, travel routes and whatnot, and being mobile is really important.
Yeah.
I saddle hunt now. I used to just hang my stand. There's where I'm hunting. But now I'm moving around all over. I've been hunting out of state a lot more.
That's cool.
It's been fun.
That's awesome. So everyone's got a different reason for like starting up their YouTube or their podcast or whatever it may be. Like everyone knows my story. I am from Boulder, Colorado. I know more hippies and vegans than I did hunters, and I was like, I want to meet some more people that are like-minded. It's worked out great for me. What was it for you? Like, were you just? Why did you start your YouTube channel?
Well, I thought that I always tell my friends and family my stories, but they don't really grasp the whole thing because they weren't there.
Yeah.
So to bring them there is to start filming. And once I started doing it, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, because I know a lot of people told me there's a lot of things involved, and there sure is, because you got to get the equipment, you got to, prep everything, and then you got to edit and all that stuff. But after seeing the end product, I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I can relive those hunts, and my friends and family can see it too. And so they can actually see what I go through in that world, because a lot of them, they don't hunt. So it's like, I mean, my dad used to hunt, but.
Gotcha. Okay. So your dad used to hunt. Is that where you got started from your dad? And why'd he hang up the rifle?
Well, he's a little older now. He's about 85, so he can't really get out there anymore. But
okay.
Yeah, my dad and his high school buddies had started a hunting camp on public land, and we would go there. My dad, as soon as I turned 12, he started bringing me up there, and we'd squirrel hunt and stuff.
That's awesome.
And that's kind of evolved into deer hunting, because he deer hunted too. He didn't bow hunt very much, but I got into that later in life, and I absolutely love it. That's one of my passions, is bow hunting.
That's awesome. I want to ask more about that, but I'll ask that later. I'm going to take a quick moment. Is my video frozen for you? Because you're basically frozen on my screen.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
You got some weird lighting going on. I don't know. Someone with a flashlight looking at some stuff there.
Is that what you're seeing somewhere? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I see some light off to the. I don't know what side that would be for you, but
that side over there, that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we won't worry about that. That'll get clipped anyways. I was trying to make a fire kind of vibe. It didn't work out the way I wanted to. Okay. What's funny is, as soon as I asked you, if I'm frozen, your video actually got better than it had been the entire time. So we'll just keep plowing forward. But I marked this spot, so I'll clip all this out. Okay. But cool. Well, that's awesome. I want to ask you more about bow hunting when we get to that point, because I'm sure you'll have a story with bow hunting. I'm always curious to see what is the catalyst that took someone from rifle to archery. If you could fit that into your story at some point, I would love that. But why don't we just jump into it, Tom? Why don't you start with whatever stories you want to share with us today?
Well, I guess we could start with I don't know how clear you can see that. My camera's a little, but the buck behind me there is a big 7-point I got on, I think it was in 2019, I think.
Okay.
Let me look back up here. Look at my photos. And it's funny because, no, 2021. I was wrong. Way off. But anyways, it's funny because my dad was with me. We were at camp, and I had my camper, and he was hunting another place, and and this is where that was my first saddle buck I shot out of a saddle. So I was really into the mobile hunting. I was really starting to understand how this mobile hunting thing works. So there was a time where he was out hunting and I was out hunting, and we both met back at camp. And on my way driving back to camp, I saw this deer cross the road, and he was crossing from public to public. And I'm like,
okay.
And I kind of knew the area because I've hunted it the year before. And I was like, I wonder why that buck was there, And I started thinking about it, and the next morning I hunted a different spot, and I'm not even going to the spot where I saw that buck, and I probably should have, and I kept thinking about that. I didn't see nothing that morning. I was like, I kept thinking about that buck I saw the other night. I was like, I bet you that deer cut across the corner of the private, public, and then back to public again. In that crossing, there's a ridge system, and on that ridge system is all these scrapes. So I thought, well, it's a pain in the butt to walk back through there because it's real hilly and thick. So I thought, well, I got my kayak. There's a pond right next to it. I just made a big loop with my kayak. I had to go over a beaver dam just to even get to because there was kind of two ponds. I made a big loop about 800 yards. Got out of the kayak, walked up, picked out a tree, got set up, and I'm like sitting there, and it's an evening hunt, so I'm thinking I'm not seeing nothing. The wind's in my face. I could see the private from where I'm at. There's like a huge field. I'm probably about 50 yards from the private line, and I'm thinking, man, I ain't gonna see this deer. This is a waste of time. And as soon as I started thinking that, I hear a snap, and I look up, and here he's coming right at me at the tree, and he's probably about 45 yards, and I'm like, holy cow! And I'm facing the tree this way, like say you guys are the tree, and I'm looking towards the private, and off to my right side, he's angling towards me, and I'm like, he's coming right to the tree. So I grab my bow, and he must have saw movement. So he's behind the tree within about 15 yards. He jumps back, and I'm like, oh shit, he saw me. And I'm like, just froze with my bow in my hand. I'm thinking, great, now what's going to happen? He's going to bowl or what? So I just I stood still like this, just holding the bow, and he's looking up at me. He can't smell me because the wind's coming right in my face. He's on the opposite side, so I'm like, all right, dear, what are you going to do? And finally he just turned around. He started walking back to where he came from, and I'm thinking, oh great, he's just going to go away. I ain't going to get a shot. And then there was like, I don't know if there was people out fishing or something. I could hear people talking behind me, and I'm like, shit, I hope there's another hunter company coming, and it's like probably about 45 minutes till dark. So it's getting close to dark, but not super close. But I'm like, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, he keeps looking up at me, and then eventually he starts working a runway that goes right in front of me, and he starts eating the briar bushes. I'm like, holy cow, he calmed right down. He has no idea I'm here now. He kept getting closer and closer, and I'm like, all right, now or never. I had this little window about like a foot by a foot, and he gets into that spot quartering away, and I let the arrow fly, and I shot him.
Did you have to stop him, or did he just stop there naturally, or did you let it rip while he was moving?
He was just stopped. He was just feeding. Okay. And I just, when he had his head down, I just drew back, and I let it fly. And as soon as that arrow hit, he hit the ground. He was done, just like that. I heart shot him.
That's awesome.
The arrow went all the way through and hit the opposite side shoulder, but it blew up his heart, and he just dropped right there. He didn't go anywhere.
It
was amazing. And then I was like, because I had the kayak, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I brought like these, like life vests. I had like 3 of them. I figured, well, I'll just wrap those around if I get a deer and float the deer out. Well, I get the deer, and I called my wife. I told her I got this big buck. She's like, holy cow, and she's all excited for me. So I was like, well, I got to get down. Got to take care of this deer. So I got all my gear down, went back to the kayak, took the kayak back to the truck, dropped all my gear off, and I called my dad. I said, hey, I got one. Get some lights and stuff and whatever. Get me a Powerade so I had some energy, or something. So I dropped off all my gear, get back in the kayak, go all the way back to where the deer was. I gut him out, drug him about 100 yards down to the kayak. Then I actually put him in the kayak. I put his feet in between my legs, and he sat right in front of the kayak. And I poured him back. My dad couldn't believe it. He's like, holy cow, I can't believe you did that. It's like, well, I was determined to get a deer. I knew that buck was here somewhere.
Did your dad by chance get a photo of you paddling in with that deer on there?
No, but I do got a photo on my phone
Yeah.
right there of him
I'll have to have you
in the
send that to
kayak.
me.
I don't know if you see that.
No, I can't quite, but send it my way, and maybe we'll share it with all the listeners because that sounds pretty epic. How was it getting
Oh, it was cool.
the kayak and the deer over the beaver dam? That sounds like a pain.
Yeah, it was pain, but I just took my time. You know, I made sure. Well, I got the deer here, and he was pretty. He weighed about 150 pounds, dressed out. He wasn't super small. I mean, he's not a very big rack, but I don't care. It's about the adventure, you know.
Yeah.
But I put him on the kayak. When I put him on the kayak, I tied a piece of rope around his neck so he wouldn't fall out. But he was pretty much wedged in between my legs and my knees, kind of. And it's hard to really explain that. But when I got to the beaver dam, I just slowly got out, and then I just lifted him up with him in the kayak and just rolled it over. It wasn't a huge beaver dam. It was pretty small. It was probably maybe 3 foot wide.
Gotcha. That's still pretty cool. Especially like, did you always bring your kayak with you when you were hunting, or just was like circumstance of the day that you were like, how convenient, I'm going to go do this and execute because I have it on me today?
Right. Well, where I was camping, there was a few other places that I wanted to just access to, because I thought what it would be cool was to access with a kayak.
Yeah.
And, you know, and there was a few other places during the year that I hunted, or actually prior to that, I hunted with the kayak going across rivers and stuff. And honestly, if you want to be a really good mobile public land hunter, access is key. And if you can use a kayak to do it, by all means use it, because the deer do not hear you coming. Yeah. For the most part. I mean,
that's awesome. I think it was God, who is it? It's one of the meat eater guys. He I think he didn't use a kayak, but he put on like a wetsuit and like a boogie board, and he put his bow on the boogie board because up in Alaska, right, they have all the bears just on the shore. So he's like, I wonder if I could just sneak in the water with my bow on the board, and he just got in on the water right up to the bear and shot it like right out of the water, which is pretty crazy. Yep. But yeah, I mean, they're not used to predators coming from that direction. Like they're just thousands of years of evolution. Nothing's ever killed one of them like that. So you come in from there. It's a great way to like get an advantage.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people I see on public land, they don't make the effort to cross rivers or I'll put waders on and I'll go miles deep if I have to. Yeah. Because especially if I know what's going on there. If I don't know what's going on there, sometimes. Well, actually, this is kind of on a whim hunt. You have a hunch and you go with it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. It worked out for you. No, and you did it in a unique way. Not many guys have, like, on a whim, killed the deer out of a kayak. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I didn't kill it out of the kayak. I just used the kayak to recover.
Still, it's part of the process. Right. Yeah. But tell me if I'm wrong on this, but the timing works out. You weren't recording anything at that point yet. That was just for fun, and then you started your YouTube more recently than that. Okay.
Yeah, well, I do have yeah. It would have been an awesome kill shot if I could have got that one on film, but that was just before that. I started filming after that, and actually, I think I started only 2 years ago, really.
Okay.
I do turkey hunts too, so... Gotcha. That's fun.
Okay. Well, I think this is the natural time for me to ask, but you obviously shot that deer with a bow. So what brought you to bow hunting? Like, when did you make the switch and why?
Back to the deer camp, my dad, he used to bow hunt, but he was hitting his arm a lot back in the, I'd say late 80s, early 90s. Okay. And then later on, in like around, I'd say 99, 97, I started bow hunting. I met a buddy that was into it real good, and he had a Matthews and all that. He got me into it. And I used to have an old bear whitetail Walmart bow, basically, back in the day, but I killed some deer with it. I mean, that's kind of how I started bow hunting. And my dad kind of gave it up for a while, but he picked it up again, and then he got a crossbow and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just something about seeing that arrow go through the air and hit the deer, and it's just a amazing thing to me. Yeah, and it's pretty much the only kind of freehand weapon that you can really use besides like a spear or a knife to kill a deer, you know.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, if you're shooting with a gun, you're leaning up against something or whatnot. But yeah, I just love the sport
it up and just love it. All right, that's good enough. Good answer as any. So cool. Thanks for putting up with me on that one. I always like to ask when people move from one to the other, why? And everybody's got their different tale. But all right, Tom, what else you got? What other stories you got for us today?
Well, let's see.
Determined to make the rest of summer the best of summer? LL Bean has clothing and gear designed to do it all. Like sun-washed apparel that feels broken in from the start, rainwear for every surprise rainstorm, hand-sewn boat shoes, and of course, the iconic boat and tote, made right here in Maine to carry all your summer essentials since 1944. LL Bean. Be an outsider. Visit llbean.com to learn more.
Got a Sam's Cafe pizza order up. You know the best part about this spicy Italian sausage? I voted for this topping. Yeah, just another perk of being a member. Come join us. Sam's Club.
Well, I could throw some deer camp stories in for you, and then maybe another deer kill one.
Yeah, let's do it.
But growing up in deer camp in Michigan, with my dad and his buddies, we would go out, collect firewood. And there was this area we called the valley. And there was a lot of old stumps from back in the day where they had logged it. But these stumps were so old you could just grab them with your hand and just break them apart, So we thought that's an easy way to get firewood. So we'd go out there and we'd fill our trucks up. And they would be overflowing and stuff. And this one time my dad grabs one of the stumps and rips it open. All these mice came out. And I look over him and he goes like this. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, the mouse came up my shirt. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. How the hell he said this mouse crawled up his leg all the way up through his shirt, out onto his shoulder. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You didn't feel that? He's like, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Do you have much for the hantavirus? I know that was something that came on like recently on some cruise ship, but in like the Southwest here, it's pretty common. Like I was raised like when you see mouse poop, you don't just clean it up, you spray it down so it's moist. Did you have much of stuff like that up there or no?
Like in our camper or something?
No, I mean just like in the region, like hantavirus is in the American Southwest. I know that for sure. I just wasn't sure, up where you are, if it's a concern at all. Like if a mouse ran up me, I'd be like, disgusting hantavirus, even though I've never known anyone to get hantavirus.
Right. They say that you've got to pretty much ingest that stuff to get it. I mean, it's not that contagious as they say, but like they say some people that work in like sewers or confined spaces that would have mice that they can take some kind of medication to build an immunity, but I'm not too paranoid about stuff like that.
Okay, got it. Well, what other hunting camp stories you got? Besides a mouse running up your dad's pants.
Yeah, that was wild. There was a time where we were hunting. My dad was there and his buddy Mark, and I was hunting like farther away from everybody else. A lot of the guys just hunt around camp and stuff, and it was funny because I hunted this spot. And I seen this deer come in. It was a doe. And this is when, I don't know how familiar you are with Michigan's tags, but this is when they were able to get 2 tags. They called it the combo tag. So you can use your combo tag for either a buck or a doe in any deer season. This is when that first came out. And I shot this doe she ran off and died on the ridge. So I'm texting my buddy Mark. I said, hey, I just shot a deer, ran up the hill. And as I'm texting him, here comes more deer. And I was like, dude, there's more deer coming. He's like, shoot them. We got extra tags. I'm like, okay. So I'm watching another group of does come in, and there's mama and, like a yearling. And I'm like, well, that mama looks pretty good. And she comes up, and this is back when in Michigan, we used to bait, so we'd have bait piles and stuff. So they were in the bait pile, and I drove back. It's a bow hunt, and I go to shoot the mama, and she ducks, and it hits the one behind her.
Oh no!
And the funny thing is, it hits it right in the head with an arrow, and that deer drops. So I got two deer. I got 2 deer within sight, and I call my buddy Mark. I said, "Dude, you're gonna have to help me with this. I got 2 deer down." He's like, "What?" So we go out there. I bring my truck. I gut them, throw them in my truck, bring them back to camp, and it's probably it just gets dark by the time I get back to camp. I hang them up, get the fire going, and then my dad comes walking back to camp, and he's like, he's telling me his story, what he saw or whatever that night, and I was like, yeah. He's like, do you see anything? I said, yeah, those 2 right there, and they were hanging right there. He's like, holy cow, I didn't even see them. But the one that I shot in the head, I just couldn't believe it with an arrow. I'm like, and I wasn't, this was, I don't remember what bow I was using that time. It still might have been the bear still. I can't remember.
Yeah. That's a lucky shot though, to miss the one you're aiming at, and then it takes out the one with minimal collateral damage, right? Like it could have injured it and it ran off, it done all sorts of crazy things, but it just put it to sleep immediately, which is crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. It was because I was aiming at the bigger doe, and she ducked. I think she ducked the arrow, and the other one was just happened to be standing behind it right in the right spot. Mm-hmm. But I didn't go home hungry.
Game over.
That's for sure.
That's a pretty crazy story. Did anyone else get anything in that deer camp, or did you get out of there 2 in one day and no one else got any?
Yeah, that was just it for me at that time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. That's a pretty good story. Let's rapid fire this. Let's keep them coming, Tom. I'm loving it.
Well, there was a story. I mean, I did a podcast before on Jacob's channel. I told him about the hunter harassment story. I can kind of touch on that if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Was pretty.
This one gets people
pretty
fired
intense.
Up. Yeah.
It was pretty intense because something I never experienced, this kind of vulgar display, if you want to say. I don't know how else to put it. But basically, it was the same spot where I just talked about the 2 deer I shot. One in the head. It was that same spot. And it was away from everybody else, kind of off to the side. It was an overlooked spot. And I was hunting there for a while, and I think this might have been, I want to say 2014, maybe 2015, around there. And I went out there one time to bait it, and I look at my trail. I had a trail camera out there, and the trail camera's gone. I'm like, what the heck? And I look over to my stand, and there's a note on it. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So I looked at the note, and I'm trying to remember this from what the note said. It was pretty... It said something about, just because you have a tree stand doesn't mean the ground blind doesn't count. And something about... Gosh, I can't remember. Something about, my dad is gone now, so I've got time to mess with you. And he put oil all over my bait pile, and he wrote in the note too, like
motor oil.
If you want, motor oil.
Okay.
At the bottom of the note, he said, "If you want your trail camera back, I hunt over such road, whatever." And I was like, "You got to be kidding me! This guy is threatening me." on public land. And I was just like, I called my dad. He's like, call a DNR right now.
Yeah.
So I called him. I called the DNR, and then the lady, the secretary, patched me in and said, well, I'll have to. You tell me, and I'll forward it to the officer, and then he'll call you when he's wrapped up. He was busy with something else at the time. So I said, okay. And I went out there and took my whole stand down because I didn't trust leaving my stand there because I didn't know what this guy was going to do. Yeah. And I meet out there with the officer, and he's like looking at the bait pile area, and he's like, he's kind of like looking at me like, I know that this doesn't sound to be detrimental, but it seems to me you got quite a bit of bait here. I said, you know what? I had the legal amount. Okay. I told him, I said, look, you can question me, but the reality of it, this is public land, and there was the cans of oil sitting there, cut, slit on the sides. So I'm like, you might think that there's a lot of, back in that day, you can't bait anymore in Michigan, except for the UP, but back in that day it was like, I think it was 5 gallons or 2 gallons. I can't remember. I think it was 2. Yeah. Okay. I think at that time that was back in 97. Or no.
That's funny that he's out there with like a threatening note, like, right? And like someone pouring oil around the forest, and he's worried about how much corn you brought out into the woods. Like,
yeah. But he
battles,
actually
sir,
took the. Yeah.
Either way,
he was just doing his. I think he was just doing his investigation, kind of trying to figure out what was going on, and I mean, he took the note, and he took the cans of oil, or whatever you call them, quarts of oil, and he said he was going to look up the barcodes and see if they were bought with a debit or credit card. He could probably track that. But I never heard of anything after that. I lost contact with that DNR officer.
Okay.
And ended up
so he never followed up?
No.
Huh.
No.
That is interesting.
I don't know
okay,
if
did you ever meet that hunter at that place where he like said, "Hey, you want your camera back," or did you just mark it up as a loss? No. Okay.
I just stayed out of there for a while and decided to go other places, and then I still hunted the same area, and I've shot like probably, I don't know, 7 more, 8 more deer since then in that same area. One of my biggest bucks was shot out of that area, but that one was that was pretty cool too. That was a good hunt. I could tell you that story.
Yeah, let me tell you it's a little different, but it is still hunter harassment kind of to a point. I lived in Texas for a couple of years, and I was like really new to hunting, so I didn't really have anyone to go with, or I didn't even know where to go, right? There's not that much public land down there, and I was like, so I think I posted on Facebook or some Texas hunting group being like, hey guys, moved here, would love to like learn, I'm a beginner. If anyone has any, ideas on public land, or I don't remember what I posted, but somebody reached out to me, and this is no longer the case. You can't hunt like this anymore. But at the time, he was like, hey, according to the state, you can hunt in rivers. All they got to do is be navigable. Navigable does not mean that they need to have water in them. It means they need to be like on average 30 feet wide. They can be dry as a bone. And I was like, well, that's an interesting concept. So he basically walked me through the regulations, and he's like, here's my recommendation. Call the game warden before you go down there. Make sure, like, ask the questions so that you're getting him to answer you, even though you know the answers, to make sure that he knows the answers so you're not getting in any trouble. So basically, I walk the warden through it, being like, hey, I'm allowed to do this as long as my ammo doesn't leave the riverbed, and it's got to be double-aught buckshot, go shotgun. So I'm like asking the questions, but basically I'm inceptioning the entire concept into the game warden's head to make sure that he knows that I'm not doing anything illegal. So I go down to, I want to say it's Pearsall, Texas is where this was. And again, you can't do it anymore. They've changed the law, and I actually think it very well could have been from what I did. And you can't hunt rivers in Texas anymore. But I went down there, And there's an easement on the side of highways, right? So you're allowed to park on the side of a highway. Yep. So I park on the side of the highway, and then I walk backwards about 25, 50 yards to a bridge, right? And the bridge goes over the river. And so I drop down in, and this river is like 30, 40 feet down. And the reason this is a decent place to think about hunting was my shot can't leave the riverbed. Everything it's like contained. It's like this wall. So I'm like kind of walking down a tunnel, hoping that I run into. And at this point, I'm like, I'm happy with wild hogs. I'm happy with deer, whatever it may be. So I went down there the first time. I bought a feeder on Amazon and some corn, and me and my buddy walked this thing until we found a spot that we're like, okay, this could be a spot that we see lots of tracks coming in. This could be a spot that we could put up a feeder. So we go in there, we put up a feeder, we put up cameras, a huge pain in the ass. We're about half a mile in, and in Texas, nobody walks half a mile. So we're like, okay, no one will be here. So either way, we get out of there and we come out. There's a truck parked about quarter mile down the side of the road, and there's nothing here. We're in the middle of the boonies. And so we get into our truck, flip the lights on, start driving, and that truck flips its lights on and starts driving behind us. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Either way, come back another time, and this time we're actually hunting a little bit more than just sort of scouting out the riverbed. Maybe it was even the next morning. I'm not sure. Either way, we get in there, and I actually have some luck. We hike to the spot that we put the feeder up. The game camera has 7,000 pictures of raccoons, like one deer and one hog. Like really not what we're looking for. Either way, right. We were like, let's just keep walking for a while. We've got all day. We're here. Like we're allowed to be in the river. So, and any time I went out there, we made sure the game warden knew we were down there. Like we're like, hey, we're down here, just letting you know. Not thinking much of it, but I ended up killing a pretty nice whitetail buck. And I'll skip the story of that. People have heard that story plenty of times, and I could share it with you some other time. But basically, we're coming back out, packing this deer out, and there's two trucks up there. And so like every time we came out of this riverbed, it's like people were just sitting there waiting for us. Well, do you want to tell any more stories? We're going to just try or we can wrap this thing up. I know we're probably about 35, 40 minutes of recording at this point. So it's your call, Tom, whether you want to keep slaving away at my technical issues or if you want to tell the people about your show and get out of here. Your call.
This buck right here, this is one of my biggest. I don't know how well you can see that.
That's a good looking buck. Yeah.
Yeah. He's upstairs. I shot him during the rut in the same area where I grew up hunting. Not too far from camp, actually. A lot of the guys that was part of that group they went separate ways. Some of them passed away and whatnot. But I was hunting this ridge top, and there was these runways going across this ridge, and it was like a bowl. You could look down in this bowl, and across the top of this ridge is all these scrapes. And I would just come in there and hunt this stand. This is before filming, before mobile hunting and everything.
Okay. And
that buck was following because I had a doe go through on this runway, and I knew the runway. I was ranged it, and it was like 30 yards. And that buck come up over the hill, and I saw those antlers. I was like, holy crap. So he got to that same spot where that doe was, and I drew back when he got behind a tree, and then he comes around the tree, and I mouth bleeded him, and I shot him, and he runs down the hill, falls over, and I'm like, holy crap, man, that's awesome. I was so excited I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I didn't know if I should back out, let him expire more, but he expired right away. I hit the top of his lung and blew his liver out.
Okay.
So he expired pretty quick. He went maybe 50 yards down the hill, and there's just blood everywhere. And I was like, all right. So I put a tag on him. I got down there and put a tag on him. Went back to camp. I mean, camp's like maybe 150 to 200 yards from where he was laying.
Okay.
And this was a morning hunt. I shot him like around 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30. I go back to camp, grab my sled, get in my truck, and the 2-track kind of goes behind where I was hunting and then goes down into the valley part. As I'm driving down the 2-track, another buck comes running out from where he was laying. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Another big one that I had on camera. But that one was really special for me because it was just an overlooked spot, and the rut just turned them deer on, man. I wasn't seeing nothing for a week or two, and then all of a sudden that day they were fired up, and I just got lucky, I guess.
Isn't that funny? Especially like once you kill something, once you've tagged out, right? All of a sudden you're going to start seeing all sorts of critters. They're going to be standing right next to you. They're going to be at your truck when you get back to your truck. It's just the funniest thing about hunting, man. It's every single time I tag out, I see more of the same critter, and it seems like it'd be an easier circumstance to harvest that one, but I've already got my tag punched. So, I wonder, someone's got to study that. They got to like put a name to it, because that's something that happens to everybody.
I think the rut is just, you never know what's going to happen. I've had so many different instances. Like there was one time where I was walking to my spot, and I never used to do this before, but I used to just walk to my spot, like a normal walk. But now when I do is wherever I'm going to hunt, once I get within 100 yards, I'll creep really slow and walk really slow. And I did that, and there was a buck, a big 10-point, standing in this field, and I didn't have my rangefinder. So I was like, well, I'll try to guess it, but I actually tried stalking him, and I took a shot and I missed him. Yeah. But it's just instances like that the heat of the moment, you gotta kind of adapt in a way.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Tom, man, this has been fun, and I know we got more stories to tell, but we've also probably got some more technical issues to have. So why don't we wrap it up here? I just want to be and I'll minimize the amount of editing that I have to do, because every time I get kicked off, it just means another half-hour work for me. So I apologize to you and the listeners for cutting it short, man. But let's do this. Before we get you out of here, why don't you tell the folks about where they could find you, if it's any social things. Of course, we want to hear about your YouTube channel, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube as The Hunting Factor. Pretty easy to find. Just type in Hunting Factor. But I'm also on Instagram. That's pretty much it, really. I just those two. Okay. But I try to post at least something once a month if I can.
Okay. What kind of content? You obviously can't do a hunt every month. Okay. Gotcha. Are you doing like bow builds, or just like how-tos, or where do you put yourself?
I got some arrow. I do some arrow building of my own. Okay. And, I got some recipes on there actually too for venison, and I got turkey hunts and deer hunts. It's growing and it's fun, and I hope keeps growing, because I could use the gas money.
Very cool. But
that's not the only reason.
Of course. Is the Instagram also just the Hunting Factor? Or is there like numbers and dashes associated?
Yeah, it's actually TH, or it's T.H.factor. Okay. That's how it's spelled.
Got it. Perfect,
Tom.
But
there's a link on my YouTube channel too for it.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for reaching out. I do appreciate it. Finding my little form that I have to get new guests on here, and of course, thank you for sharing your stories. I love the visual of the kayak and going up and over the beaver dam and getting that deer. Yeah. That was a very, very unique story that I haven't heard anything like. So thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on here.
Of course, man. All right. And we'll have you back on in the future. And by then, I guarantee I'll have this tech stuff figured out. So thank you, Tom. I appreciate you.
Cool. Nice to do this.
Of course. That's it. Another couple stories in the books. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in and for bearing with me. Like I said, the new kid, the new job, the new computer. I've got lots of excuses, but I'm going to keep trying to get better. So thank you guys for tuning in. Beyond that, guys, go ahead and give Tom a follow. Links to everything are in the show notes, so please check those out. While you're there, make sure you give us a follow on YouTube. Give us a follow on Instagram, hell, LinkedIn, whatever you want. But most importantly, guys, thank you for tuning in. Share us with one person. Now get out there and, of course, make some stories of your own. Thank you.
Athletic Brewing Company crafts award-winning non-alcoholic beers for those who want to be part of every round. With over 185 flavor awards, they're exceptional NA beers that fit your lifestyle and any social occasion. Summer's full of good times, and Athletic fits right in. Go to athleticbrewing.com to have brews delivered to your door, or find them at a bar, restaurant, or store near you. Near beer. Athletic Brewing Company. Fit for all times.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month. Even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending. Zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.